Okay, so in this video, I want to just look at some ways that you can use evidence or examples from your articles and your research and use them in your own writing. So, for example, I found this article, Factors Influencing Food Choices on Adolescents, Findings from Focus Groups Discussions with Adolescents. Okay, so pretend I've read this whole thing or um, at least I've scanned through, found some information that I wanted to use. How am I going to use that and cite it properly in my essay? So I would scan through and make sure, I would find or highlight anything that I found interesting for my paper. In this case, there's a lot of information that I might use, oops, but we'll just pull up a blank doc here. So for example, in this one, so I wanted to talk about the appeal of foods in my essay. So I might say in my paper, I'll use a signal phrase. So a signal phrase just signals to your reader that you're going to introduce a secondary source. So according to, and then I would have to credit these authors. So you could say all of their names. The first time you mention them, you might want to do their complete names, or at least do the first author et al., Diane Newmark et al., or other subsequent times you can just say Newmark et al. Argue that, or whatever it is. So your signal phrase is signaling to your reader that you are going to add some research in here. So according to Newmark et al., and then I would have to like scan through to find some information. So, for example, you could say, according to Newmark et al., one consideration for adolescents in their eating habits is time consideration. So because time consideration is one of these points in this article, and I'm using it here, I want to make sure I credit where I got that information. If I was going to just say time consideration is a factor in how adolescents choose fast food or something like that. Time consideration is a factor in how adolescents choose fast food. Period. That would be kind of plagiarism because I found that information somewhere, so I should cite et al. And then even put that page number in there where I found that information. So time considerations was on page 931. So you want to make sure that you change up how it's written so it's your own words, but this would be an example of paraphrasing. So I'm paraphrasing the information from the article. I'm not doing a direct quotation, and I'm in that case I should still cite the information because it came directly from this article. I didn't know that ahead of time, and it's something that I wanted to find a secondary source to elaborate on that. So you could again scroll through, find a quote that you like. In that case, you might again use a signal phrase. So Newmark et al. You could use a word like assert, argues, states, claims, any kind of verb okay, and then we'll sort of take this chunk here and add that to our paper. So Newmark et al. Assert that even if adolescents, and then I don't want it to talk about parents, so I'm going to take some stuff out here. Have time, they sometimes choose not to spend it preparing foods and want food that is convenient. End of quote. And so again, because I have my authors at the start, I don't need them at the end, so I just need my page number. So page 932. And I put my period outside of the bracket at the end. So this is a direct quote, and I'm using the exact words. You've noted that I've taken some words out of the quote. In this case, I didn't want to talk about the parents. Where am I here? Here. I skipped out some words, and it still makes grammatical sense when I read it. So Newmark et al. Assert that even if adolescents have time, they sometimes choose not to spend it preparing foods and want food that is convenient. So I've taken words out, and instead I've put in ... to indicate that I have removed words from the middle of the quote and left some things out in order to make it fit what I want to talk about, which is just teenagers. I don't care what their parents do. So it depends on how you want to use your quote. You don't ever need ... at the start or at the end of your quotes. It's just if you remove words. So that's one thing that you can do. And again, you can, using a signal phrase that announces who the authors are, even the name of the title of the article is also a good idea. But these are some different ways that you can do it. So either use paraphrase, which summarizes larger ideas and places it in your own words, or direct quotations that take exact words and plugs them into your sentence. Both are strategies that are excellent ways to use. So this is a direct quotation, this is a paraphrase. Both are ways that you can incorporate and add information from secondary sources into your essay. It takes some practice, again, to get used to this kind of writing, but it is a large part of what academic writing is research and summarizing other people's ideas in a way that reinforces your analysis. So it's something that you're going to do over and over again at the university.